Hello, comrades. It's Premier Rever here, and I am once again looking down at the awesome city of Revergrad, who they seem to just be completely taking care of themselves. As always, they are in a big rush to get to and from the shopping center. They don't seem to like going to this store quite well. There's quite a few people going to that store as well. We're just a bustling little town. It's a bit overpopulated here in Revergrad, but that's okay too. So very little time has actually passed since the last episode, and I got a couple suggestions, and one of them I definitely want to act on. I'm not sure exactly what the person meant, but it got me thinking about the area again. Let's just take a look at where things are at here. So we're plugging along with these tunnels, and we're actually done this. So, you know, we have them working on this road. So we have to remember to come back here. They should be done that, you know, in relatively good time. I don't think it'll take them too long, so I don't want to neglect the construction over there while we do other things. So I think I might even pause the video. Otherwise, I think we're doing pretty well. I just looked around while it was paused before I started up. We're working on this road. And in this case, the reason I want to pause is just for the sake of, that way I don't worry about other things that are going on behind me. And I think there's some definite room for improvement over here. There's a couple things that we need to do. One, not necessarily in this priority order, but we need to get power over to these guys. And we also don't have a train rail construction, which I definitely think we're going to need over here. And in addition to that, Steve had made, this is the comment, I don't know 100% what he meant, but his exact word was, let me see, where is it? Right here. Ladder track system. And what I was thinking of is, you know, I think this is where he might mean ladder track system. That certainly would make sense. And I thought, why don't we make this one way in and then one way back out, right? Now, we're going to need two-way down here, but it doesn't mean we can't get rid of a bunch of, I think it'll look a lot better if we, you know, basically take this and make it a, you know, nice looping system, right? Where they would come in. That way we can also, you know, this will get at least slightly busy as far as trains coming in and out of here. So I don't know, we might even end up with like a stacking system of some sort over here where they would come in, wait off of the main path, and then just get fed into here. So what I would like to do is take a look at which one of these. So this would be the outgoing. So I think what I would do is let's demolish this, right? And then we'll demolish this. Yes, really. I wouldn't have told you if I didn't mean it, right? So we're just going to get rid of this whole rail and everything associated with it. There we go. So that's just an ingoing. Now we might even make this look a little bit better. But so, in other words, when the trains come in, this is going to be a one-way this way. They'll be able to come in here. Or if they come this way, they'll be able to come in here, right? Now, the other thing I didn't like about this is that I couldn't put a signal over here. So I think I still want to be able to put a signal. So let's, now that I'm thinking about it, let's get rid of this and get rid of that. All right, so I want to be able to put a signal on the other side of this. Yeah. So, you know what? I think I'm even going to get rid of this one, which probably, yeah, there you go. And you know what? That's fine. All right, now I'm going to use the bulldoze tool, which I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of, but I'm just going to bulldoze this the whole way so that I don't want little tiny track segments that will force our train to, or our new plan to, you know, once you get nodes in there, it tends to fight you on where you put things. Let me zoom out a bit. There we go. And then that one should be attached. Okay, so I think that's good. All right, so let's just commit to that part. And then what I want to do with this one is come a little bit further in here where I know I could put a signal. So again, coming back out here, make it look a little bit nice. And then I guess from right about there, right? Nope, we want it to go to this one. There we go. They can come in this way, come in that way, and then let's commit to that. And then I want to delete this one out. And I'm going to do, not that, here. Yeah, and I actually want to get rid of, let's just get rid of all of this. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of this. And while we're at it, I'm just going to get rid of it, get rid of it all. So for the sake of, oops, let's not do the wrong track. Oop, let's put on our, that way I can make it nice and straight with the grid. All right, so this is pretty good up to here, but then I think I need to do something about leveling this a bit, right? Like, let's make this so there's no, the jiggly method really does do a nice job of taking everything to a similar level, right? Like, you know, you can always come in and then if you need to, you know, do a little bit of a down action, you know, if you're high in a certain spot. Yeah, let's take this down a little bit. Yeah, I think this is a little bit high for coming out of there, you know. Yeah, I'll take this down a bit. All right, so now let's do a little more jiggly. See, that's kind of coming up. I don't necessarily want it to come up right here, right? Like just... There we go. That looks pretty nice. And then how about here? Yeah, it's... Yeah, I think we come down here just a tad. And then this is a little bit high. All right, let's go back to jiggly, slight amount. Yeah, these tools are way more powerful, which is, like I've said, I'm not the biggest fan of them being so powerful, but they're almost too powerful for doing what you want to do sometimes. Like, well, you know what, this is kind of a steep thing here. So let's just, yeah, that's not really doing what I want it to do. So let's go a little, yeah, you know what the problem is that this rail is here. How's this one look? That one looks fine, but it's pinning it right in a certain spot here, so I don't want it to pin it so much. There we go. All right. Now let's see about attaching this guy. Now what I'm doing is I'm going at about 3.5. So this is like right here, right? And I'm going about 3.5 down, and then I want to come out straight until I'm about 3.5 over. See that? So it's like 1, 2, 3.5. And that didn't work. Of course not. So let's just delete one little bit off of that guy and see what happens. This one might be a little odd because it's going on the end, right? Can we go this way? Yeah, so you know what I'm going to do? Let's just get rid of all of that. Ah, look at that. See that little bit of little curly Q at the end? We don't want that. This will look fine. There we go. That looks nice. So now if I come out, we'll go like this would be about 3.5, right? I probably wasn't quite at 3.5 either. So that should make a nice looking turn. See that? So we're to right about here. Right. Now, if we don't have real big trains, which we may not, we might be able to fit in some nice signaling. Otherwise, these are all kind of a little bit close. But the good thing is like we can you know, we could possibly put like signals here. And, you know, I don't know. We'll see. But I think that looks a lot nicer, right? So even in other words, even if it doesn't function any better, it looks nicer. But I think it will because, you know, we won't have trains coming back out, and that could cause a lot of issues, you know. All right, so let's demolish all of this. You know, I want to get the bulldoze tool out. It's just get it to a certain point anyway. All right, so this, let's get rid of that, get rid of this. All right, there we go. So we need one way coming in to here. And so I don't, you know, I think I might even get rid of this altogether. Right? So now this is just one way. They'll come in this way and go to here, and then they'll come back out this way. So these trains need to be able to come back out here. So now one of our issues is this is, you know, I want to bring this straight up here, and there's some hills in our way. So I think I'd like to take down some of this so that it's a little more flat left to right. A little bit of a high spot right there. It doesn't need to be perfect, but we could do our jiggly thing in a minute. And I don't think we have to go too far up this way. Might as well take down some of this to get it, you know, just a bit, again, not level, but more even from left to right, I guess you could say. This seems to be a bit high here. And this seems to be a little bit high. Good. Yeah, so I think we're in good shape. So let's just do a little jiggly just to make that all sort of orangey as opposed to those little plotches of red, right? Yeah, a little bit right here maybe. Good. I think that's kind of reasonable. All right, so now what I want to do, yeah, you know what? This is still, yeah, if we came out like straight here, this is still all kind of a bit high. And this is, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a little railroad leveling. So we'll get this knocked down. This doesn't have to be perfect, but I would like to make it, you know, we're looking pretty good every other place. So let's see. It's going to come out of here. And, yeah, so that takes it right down like lickety split. All right, so now let's bring this guy pretty much straight up to here. And then let's see, what did we say? 3.5. So for, well, let's see here. We can bring this out. Oop, thank you, game save. Yeah, 3.5 would be in this neighborhood, and we should be able to make, yep, a real nice turn. A little janky, but just ignore that. And then we can come across here. Yeah, probably do about there, and then pretty nice turn. Some of it looks decent. I think we were like right back here. If it's just, if they're all similar, right? It's not that it has to be a certain type of turn, but if you do it sort of this way, then they just sort of tend to look similar anyhow. So I think we want to come to like here. Yeah, a bit of a mess there, but that's all right. It's just sort of one section of mess. There, what do you guys think? So we'll have a nice one-way system. It'd almost be better if we did it. Well, no, I don't want them blocking this road. So once they're in here, I want them to get them out of here. So in other words, I don't want trains causing, we're going to have a fair amount of traffic getting supplies in and out. Good. So let's commit to that. Wonderful. Now, another thing that we need in this area is going to be the rail construction office. And I've looked at it and thought about it in between the episodes, and I'd like to see if we can't jam it in down over here, right? So in order to do that, we could just stay here for a minute. I would like to use the leveling tool and see about getting some of this leveled. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just getting it to where we can place the buildings as best we can. Now, before we go placing buildings, I would like to talk about lessons learned. So give me 1 second to finish this up. Man, see, we're getting into that other building a little bit. All right, that's good enough. Yeah, we don't want to go too much over here because we might want to bring roads in and out. So there we go. So we at least got a spot. You know, we built this rail, and I would have to say that this rail construction office, the biggest problem we have with it, oh look, there goes an oil train. The biggest problem that we have with it is not having enough parking spaces, right? So most of the time it works out pretty well, but like you can even see here, it looks like we don't have prefab panels. And the prefab guy can't sit there with his truckload. He's got to drive back and forth constantly. So when we build another one, I definitely want to get more parking spaces. In addition, there's just too much coming in and out of here. We're wasting fuel. Also, if we don't need the bus stop. If this is the only thing in the area that needs people, then I think we'll just build this and have the buses come in and out of here. And if we provide more parking spaces for these other trucks bringing the stuff in and out, then I don't think we're going to need to worry about, you know, blocking the buses up. So that's one lesson learned. The other thing to say is, you know, having all this rail connected via like this is wonderful, but kind of overkill. You know, like I think it really wouldn't, if we had more parking spaces here, it really wouldn't be that big a deal to have driven steel from here and had, even if we needed 2 trucks to do it, right? You know, you can stay ahead of these rail construction guys in most cases, even if you have 4 of them in there working. So having said all of that, I think that you know, as long as we have a place with extra parking spaces, which would be like a road cargo station, and also we need to get the aggregate, the gravel in there. So we would also want to have a place to unload and load gravel. So let's see. Train, we got, okay, that's trains. We want to go over to roads, right? Well, you know, let's do rail construction office. Or let's take a look at the thing first. Sorry. So if we take a look at this, you know, we can bring, you know what, I'm going to do it from this direction so it doesn't block my view as much. If you look, we do want a road to come in and out of this so that we can have buses and whatnot. And since most of all of our supplies are over here, right, we would want our rail construction, or our road cargo station and our, you know, aggregate drop off probably to be close to this road, as opposed to having them come in and out this road, which really, I don't know how well that would work, but picture a cargo station here. So maybe if we put this guy, well, you know what, let's build those first, because make sure they fit. So in other words, this guy would need to go this way where his connections are pointing towards our, and then we're going to need to make sure that he can get connected to the road, right? So we don't want this to be too steep here. So let's actually put in a road, maybe like this, right? Yeah, let's see if that will work. And this guy will have to be connected to said road. Right? And then for all this to work, we would want a truck aggregate unloading, and it would need to go in this way. Will that fit? Yes, it will. So no reason to bunch it up on the road there. We'll just come out of the one side of this. This doesn't need to be two-sided. because it won't be able to be. There, right? So that should work out pretty well for this guy. And if we spin it this way, we should be able to attach all of that up, right? And then get the road connected over here. So let's jump back over to this and make sure the conveyor will connect, because that's always, yep, there we go, that's connected. And then the next biggest, yep, that'll connect. And then finally get some road going. Yeah, and this, we do want this to be a regular road, right? Like, just because we will have buses and who knows what else coming in and out of here. Like, not, as opposed to just being like a temporary construction road. So there you go. Now, rail connection. Well, here, you know what? Let's commit to these, because that seems like one way or the other we'll get this rail connected. Now, I'd like to try something a little bit different over here for a lesson learned. Though I don't know. We'll see. I have no idea whether what I'm about to do is going to work or not, but it certainly seems to make some sense to me that it might work. A lot of times these guys are bumping into each other when they're coming in and out. Like, it doesn't have a big sense of, oh, there's a train here, don't go that way. So what I would like to do is try to see if we can't make these like a one-way in and a one-way out. Look at that. You know what? There's like an end of the road right there. You know what? Let's use this. I'm just going to demolish that. And I'm going to demolish that. It should be easy enough to put those back. All right. So if we come out here, again, I want to be over the road. So I don't think we're going to need a signal on here. But so let's say that this one is where it'll send out trains, right? Well, you know what? Let's do this one in, because then we're not near this intersection. I'll show you what I mean. We'll be near it, but we won't be. We'll be attached to the other way. So see, any train coming here will be able to come back in this way, and then we'll need to do the same thing over here, right? This will be one way in this way, and then this one. No, I don't want you to go over there. No, stay here. Okay, this one will be the out, right? This is where we'll send trains out. So. Let's see, can we get this guy? Boy, that's a big mess right there, isn't it? Yep. All right, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, I don't really like that. Oh, wait, okay, good. It looks like it's... I made sure it wasn't like... No, I think that's... I think that'll work. It's a mess, but again, we'll see. It's just a mess. All right, so let's come from here and there. Okay, so in other words, as ugly as that kind of is, it should keep them, you know, I would think, coming in and out on different tracks. Like I said, let's just see how it works. I'm willing to experiment there, and if it doesn't work out very well, yeah, and it definitely has a certain ugliness to it. But there we go. All right, so now another thing we want to do we want to put our road back. Let's go put our road back before we forget about that. That was easier than I actually expected it to be. Not that I expected it to be hard, but I didn't expect it to be quite that easy. What I would like to do is just put in a few temporary railroad signals, just for the sake of, once you connect these tracks, they're going to be considered like one block, and that'll block our construction guys from constructing. So good. Now we could put in rail signals. I'm not going to worry about that. Yeah, like I said, these are more for the purpose of construction than actual long-term functionality, you know. Yeah, that one already has signals. Yeah, that one's got signals there. This, we'll see. Yeah, it would be nice to be able to put them in here, but whatever. Yeah, maybe we could even do something different with this. I don't know. I'll think about it. It's not like we're going to build it instantly anyway, so it's we'll see. There might I'm not liking this particular way that worked out, but we'll see. All right, so we have enough signals so that at least when we start time up, which we could probably do again. I think the main reason I stopped was for the sake of leveling. Yes. So anyway, all right. So let's turn off. Oh, we want the wireframe off. What are we going to do next? Yeah, let's turn it off for a minute just to see what it all looks like without it. So nice. Now, another thing that we definitely want to do is get in electricity, because that will be a little bit vital to things, right? So probably we're not going to be able to get all of this on one. See how it's, it's not going to work. If we put one here, then we're going to need another one over here. So it's looking like, let's zoom in so we can see where we're doing. Yeah, I'd probably put it like this, because the road can be temporary, and that seems like it will cover all of the buildings in sight, even the one that's all the way in the bottom right, right? Good. So let's build that. Now, I'm going to put a little road in. Nothing else. I like to build the roads. Yeah, you know what? I don't really want to attach it to there, because I'd rather it. But if I don't put a road here, you can lose sight that you even had the darn thing. There we go. So at least we'll know we need to attach that up. Not that we would forget, because eventually we'd realize we had no power. So this was the building, our construction office this one is covered by that other substation. So when we talk about one covering these buildings, know that this and this were covered, right? So we need to get this gas station covered. All right, and I don't really see us building anything up over this way, but we would definitely tend to build this way and down here, right? So let's get it to where all of these buildings are covered. And then, yeah, that's the gas station barely covered. Is there anything else? No. See, these two are already covered. So now there is the possibility of putting something else over there, but I think anything else we put over there would probably be covered if we plop this guy down around here. Now, something else to keep in mind is that, I think we're going to want these railroad tracks straight ahead. So let's see. Let's just too big a climb. Yeah, so that's, well, you know what? Let's do this then. I'll have to work this out. Oh yeah, look how big this. I don't know how permanent that road's going to be anyway, but we're talking about like this square here. Oh Jesus, no, don't do that. Crazy game. All I want to do is, all right, you know what we're going to do? I know what we're going to do. Let's lower this mess back down. Oh, now, of course, you're going to take like 20 times as long to lower it. Nah, you know what? It'll just be like a pimple until we take care of it. Let's just go back over to roads. Right, now that we have the wireframe on, we know we're in this line here. So I just want enough of a road as a marker. So this is about where the rail would come through. So we don't necessarily want anything right there, and I'm trying to keep, the area in between a little bit empty. I don't want to bunch up things too close to this railroad track, so I'd like to try to stay away from it kind of as much as we can. Though, we can always see, like, I'd really want to put it just about right where that railroad track is, which I don't really want to put it, obviously, right where that railroad track is. Like, I'd almost rather it be up this way. Now, would we build anything else right there? So if we build it here, it's kind of getting close. I'd really like it on this side of things. Would we build anything off of that? Or would we want to, yeah, see if we go down further this way, which, no, see it's getting up against that railroad track. So now we need to put it up. Let's put it up like here. And that may not be the best place to cover everything in the world, but it doesn't really need to cover everything in the world, right? All right, good. So at least we're out of the way of our roads and railroad tracks up there. And then we have this guy up here. And we should have, yeah, we have a substation down over here, which is good. Now, just in thinking about it, you know, here's where that substation is. Yeah, you know what though? Let's get a line. Like using the, yeah, we'll go as far and as close to that road as we can for now. And then, yeah, good. It's good I put that road in there because now there's no pole. All right, I'm going to come back to like here. And I want to put in a switch because I know that we're going to want more stuff going over this way shortly. And I don't think we're not going to really draw that much power from anything over there, I don't think. So there's no reason to use a whole separate one of these for that. Then I want to do like the same thing over here, right? So we're going to bring this guy just straight on down. Yeah, we'd want to go, let's just go right to the other side of these other power lines. Let's make it nice and straight. Just because why not? There we go. So now, I think I'll come out of this one just because, was that straight-ish? Yeah, we'll come back here. Now that I got a good idea, we'll put another switch in, like right here. Because again, I don't think this guy's going to use a lot of power either. It's not like we have industries running there, right? So there we go. So now we'll have power to those, and then off of this substation, we could talk about more power, you know, either to Electrical City or beyond. Now, Electrical City we might want its own, you know, more beefy, but at least we'll have it for getting construction and things like that. All right, so let's commit to these power lines. And then the next thing we're going to need to do is get some roads so we can build these things. Now, this guy's sort of out in the middle of nowhere, isn't he? Where is our closest? There's no close dirt roads besides here. You know, eventually we're going to need a road that goes into Electrical City, right? And if we're going to stay away, maybe we put a road. Yeah, let's just come out of here and say, you know what, we're going to build a road from there. And this will be maybe even almost like a boundary where we have, you know, a whole big area here that's just dedicated to bringing stuff in and out, right? We could talk about things more as we get closer to building Revergrad and more things. But does that make sense? So like, you know, we have our electrical coming down here. We have rail. But if we ever want to put more rail and road, you know, we're just going to leave this big swath open to that. You know, not build anything in there. Right. And I don't know if that even makes a ton of sense. But in the meantime, we can probably come off of here. And I could see a couple dots right there. So I don't want to go right in between those. I'll just leave that there for now. It's just a dirt road. Now this one, yeah, you know what? Why don't we just bring this down for now? It's probably not the most effective route. A little bit long. Well, heck, we could even probably, just because they're dirt roads, right? Save them a few footsteps. And then this one is already attached. So, good. So let's turn off our grid for a minute. Take a look. Wonderful. We've got power. We've got extra parking spaces so we should be able to supply this guy quite effectively with the number of trucks. All the supplies should be like right here. And then the aggregate, he'll have to drive from there. So that'll be the furthest thing away, but we'll have, the ability to park 2 truckloads just sitting there waiting. So they're not going to use that much gravel that 2 trucks can't keep up, or even just 1 truck might be able to keep up fine. We'll see. And yeah, so we have made some great improvements to our construction office area. Now, another big thing that they're going to need is going to be people. And where would we put people? What I'm thinking of is Electrical City is a big priority. In part just because of my super, Soviet dictator ego, I need to see that we are self-sufficient. So if we went down the list of all the different products, we're not making electrical components and we're not making the electronics. So I do want to get that going, and it'll also save us some money. It is one of our bigger imports. But I don't necessarily picture a town just for Electrical City, or even any of these other towns. Like I pictured a lot of busing and tramming going on here, and what I'm picturing is to get started and to try to keep things a little bit close to here would be to put a town, down over in this area. Now we might even want to put it right in the corridor that I just talked about. Or do we want to keep it over this way further? Let's build our road out here. Let's try to keep, maybe this road would also, nice gravel road. Oh, here, let's get our wire frame back out. That way we keep it. Yeah, it's not very straight to begin with, but we'll just keep it right down here. There we go. It gives us an idea. Now the problem that I'm going to have, in building a city here is going to be that we can't level anything at this point. So we're kind of limited until we get this construction going. Speaking of, to not, like, I don't want to build this city until we actually have this construction office with a bulldozer and a excavator in it. Speaking of construction, sorry, I just reminded myself, yeah, we're done this road probably a long time ago. And unfortunately, you guys have no ability to remind me that I'm forgetting things. There we go. So wonderful. So now we have a little more construction being done. And everybody else should be on massive projects, right? Yeah, like these guys are just no way, shape, or form not ever getting done, but they will be done eventually. There we go. Now how about these guys are working on electrical lines, right? Yes. So we can either keep them working on that, or we can get this gas station going. Let me assign the gas station, and then that way, we're one step closer to not having as many problems. And then I think we're going to wrap up this episode a little bit shorter. I'm sure I can go on talking for 5 more minutes, but there's not a whole lot more that we could do. And I don't want to get into any kind of a massive, we could sit here and watch the construction happening, but there's really not going to be that much. This is making some progress. At least we have 6 people working on it. Are these guys still working on roads, right? Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is in between episodes, just, I don't know how long I'll wait. If something even slightly exciting happens, I'll come back for another episode. But, these guys are getting to the point they're paving this, which is good. And, I'm just going to make a beeline to get this road paved and then get into here. And then that way we can move our excavator and bulldozer down to here. In the meantime, I'll keep working on this electrical power. Yeah, this guy's plugging away, digging the holes. Huh? Nice. And I think all of our electrical power will be going, but I'll come back. I don't want to skip all of the construction, but just literally going to be sitting here waiting, for this road to get done. Of course, You know what? I'll probably end up coming back when this construction office is built, which will probably happen next. How's that sound for a plan? I'll just build this construction office, and then which will take just a few more roads here. And in the meantime, keep plugging away at the other things. But then we can talk about what we would do with another. I'd like to get them working a little bit further ahead, but it's going to be a while. There's no huge hurry because it's going to be a while to get those train tunnels done. But it doesn't mean once we get this over here, we can start planning out more stuff. Because I definitely want to start bringing steel over this way rather than driving it all the way up and around. And if we're bringing a bunch of other stuff in this way, it's only going to mean that this is, going to be quite busy. Like I don't want to make this rail track any busier than it needs to be. And I think it's one of the reasons for the big tunnel system. And just so you know, the people, I understand making this like a super efficient rail junction, but in the back of my mind the whole time, I kind of picture in the grand scheme that is our country of Reverstan or whatever we're going to call our country, this is going to become a bit of a backwater. Like the new and great Revergrad and the center of our living will be over here. So this is where I really want the rail and the roads to be like top notch. Like, and when you get out into the backwoods kind of areas, like I more picture when we're exchanging things, I kind of picture a big, huge loop like around this whole area where, we have massive train circle and then we might have some things feeding into it like this. But this is more where I would picture the hub, like, because eventually we would, even expand over to this way, right? We have nice big areas. And again, I don't know how far we'll ever take this map, but that would be the idea. So in other words, one of my reluctances to do things super well over here is knowing that, a lot of the busyness that's happening right now is the construction that's going on over here. And eventually that's going to die off, and there's not going to be that many trucks necessarily on this road because things are going to be coming in and out of this spike over here in a lot of cases. Our food will be coming over into here and back out. So we might not have that much traffic crossing this way, but we'll see. So that just know that is part of the reason for my not necessarily making this the most massive track system in the world, as fine-tuned as it could ever be. And that, by the way, is also combined with the fact that all takes time. And when you're doing every single thing manually, that all takes time, right? And not so much even the money anymore, but, there goes another train, slowly but surely plugging his way out there, heading over to here. So it's, for those of you guys that like to build things manually but cheat in the difficult things, like, keep in mind, I'm generally almost always not. I've cheated in a few little things, but I could probably count them on both hands, especially as I started understanding how the power system worked, because I was messing that up in the very beginning, I think. So I did build a few more power things, and that's about the one thing I do tend to cheat in a little bit. Like when we needed another power line here, I did just do that, just for the sake of not shutting down everything for 20 minutes. Yeah, and plus I've also learned sometimes you shut those things off and now you can't get concrete to here anyway. So that would be a special challenge to never build anything with that. But, well, there you go. All right, see, look, I stretched it out to 45 minutes or so. So sorry for you guys that like the super long episodes, but I think this is just a good place to stop. And again, I think it's just going to be kind of boring to watch these roads finish getting built. So, good. Well, anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. I think we made some decent strides in improving this area, and now I think we're just sort of up against the wall of not being able to get people down here until we can get this construction going. So hopefully by about the beginning of the next episode or shortly into it, we'll have Our construction office popped out on the other side of that tunnel, and we'll have, you know, some strides made towards building this construction thing. So, great. All right, guys. I hope you have a good day, and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.